everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters, and inside this box right here, we have the final production sprues for the Achilles and M10 project. So meaning I have a full, complete, ready to basically roll out the door M10 and Achilles inside here. Now, if you've been following me on social media or you follow my channel, you know I've already shown you guys the box art. I don't actually have the final box inside here. They're being printed right now, but they are done. So the instructions are done, the kit is done, the box is being printed right now. So all that means is they just have to put them together in the factory, and these will be rolling out the door very, very soon. So very excited about that. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to quickly just show you some of the new parts in here. I was going to start building the M10 immediately, and of course I'm going to do a video on that as well. But what I thought I would do is show you some of the parts, because the original parts I showed you didn't have the welds on it, didn't have the diamond plate on it, didn't have the texturing on it, or all the other detail. Those original test sprues were just to show, hey, this kit fits together really good, which it did. But now I can show you all the details. So it shouldn't take you that long, I should say, to show you those parts. Now, sales have been very, very good on this kit. So if you guys are interested, you can pick them up on a pre-order, I should say, at andyshhq.com, or actually anywhere around the world. I know from Australia to England to Europe, Asia, most of them have this kit up for pre-order, and like I said, the sales are doing very well. So if you don't want to miss out on the very first production run, I would definitely get on some site and order a pre-order on that. That way you won't miss out on both the Achilles and M10. And it kind of expected it too. Obviously, in the United States, the M10 selling better. In Europe and primarily England, the Achilles is selling a little bit better, you know, to kind of toss it off. So it's just fun to see the numbers coming in from different parts of the world. And Australia is dead even. They're both M10 and Achilles right there, both even on that right there. But England does have a few more Achilles that they're purchasing than M10s. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the parts out of here, take them over to the bench, set them all up, and let you see all of the detail that'll be inside this kit. So let's get started. Okay guys, what we're going to do right now before I take a look at the plastic parts is I wanted to show you all of the color profiles that we have for the Achilles and the M10. Now the first ones we're going to take a look at are for the Achilles, and we have here a Normandy tank on the left, and to the right we have a Achilles in Italy. Then the next page we're coming along, we're dealing with the very famous Chelsea, which has the kind of the black Mickey Mouse pattern in it. And then we also have a snow camouflage one as well. Now, what I want to talk to you about a little bit is a little bit of a controversy I've heard. I didn't know it was that big of a deal, but it is colors on the Achilles. Now, the way I've shown all of the Achilles, the first three at least that are not in snow camouflage, we are recommending SCC 15, which is a British olive drab as a base coat. Now the Achilles here with Chelsea on it is a black Mickey Mouse pattern on it, but the actual base color is SCC 15. Now, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Next, I'm going to show you the American markings for the US M10. And they're easy. The American ones are all olive drab, so it's very easy to do. You see the first couple ones here, and we'll move on to the next page. We even have one that is in New Guinea. So we've got a South Pacific M10 markings for that. And finally, we have a snow-covered one. And then one in this kind of weird brownish color, because this last M10 on this page is actually a British vehicle. I know it's got the star on it, but that's just an Allied star on it. And this one is actually a British tank. And what that's calling out for in the instructions right here, based on the color here, is SCC02. So let me go over to the bench now, and we'll talk a little bit more about these two colors. Okay, here are the two colors here. Now, what I went and did is I went and grabbed 2 bottles of ammo by MIG. I happen to have these in stock, and they represent, from what I can see, close to what the colors are. So the British 1941 through 1944 service drab is this one right here. This is SCC02. And if you look at it right here, it is a very brownish type color, a very mud looking color, we'll even call it. Now, based on what I've read, this was used from 41 up until, I believe it was April of 44. And then the British, because for whatever reason, decided they were going to change it to SCC 15, which is from May of 44 onward to the end of the war, 45. So they call this British olive drab. It's not identical to US olive drab. It's more of a green color than more of our olive drab, which our olive drab is made by mixing yellow and black together. This almost appears to have a little bit more of a green tone to it. Now, back to what I was talking about with the controversy. So basically by Normandy, which is June of 44, a lot of people believe that all of the M10s going into combat would have been the SCC 15. And that is why on my marking sheets, I call them out to be the SCC 15 based on, what people have, said, we've read. It's very hard to see, obviously, a lot of times in black and white photos because they're full of mud, things like that. But being that the M10 was out earlier than that, it stands to reason that there could have been some that were painted SCC 2. Maybe, I don't know. I've heard people say that they were, some of them earlier ones were painted too. And did every one of them get painted once they arrived in mainland Europe back to the SCC 15? Probably. It's hard to say. So it's one of those subjects. I've read quite a bit on there, and there's debate back and forth, but I normally associate SCC 15 with the Achilles, this greenish color right here, and that is what we show in our brochure, the back. But you'll notice, remember I was showing you earlier about the early, the American one, the M10, because the British did get M10s and not all of them were converted over to Achilles with the 17 pounders on it. They had the regular 3-inch gun on it. And that would stand to reason, because they got them earlier than that they could have been overpainted our olive drab with the SCC2, and that is what it shows at the very back of that thing. So you can still do a British one with this green color right here, but we show it in there. And obviously everything American is going to be done up in regular good old olive drab, whether you want to fade it or not. A lot of times it's just the darker olive drab, but you have that option. So it's your model kit, you can paint it whatever you want. But that is what I've been reading up on, and there was a lot of decisions to be made, but I just decided let's go ahead with the SCC 15. It looks what most people expect it to look like. And as for Chelsea, there's also a lot of debate about that, whether Chelsea had the Mickey Mouse pattern on it. There are obviously a lot of M10s that have that Mickey Mouse black pattern on the SCC 15. If you're not into that right there, you don't have to put the Chelsea decals on it. There was a lot of them painted that way that didn't have any other name on it at all. But that is my little 2 cents on the painting on that. That's what I'm recommending is this color, SCC 15 for the Achilles, and for the M10, regular good old olive drab. So now let's take a look at the parts. Okay guys, let's jump right in and take a look at some of the parts. Now, I'm not going to show you all the parts on the kit again. I've already done a video with that. This is mainly going to be showing you some of the detail and how nice the detail came out on this. Now, this very first sprue I picked up is from the Achilles. This has got the lower part of the turret and things like the mantlet. And what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to zoom in, let you see the texture and the welds that were put on this piece that weren't there when we had just the early test shots. We also have the transmission cover, and you can see some of the stampings down here, hopefully well enough. And then it's got part of the duckbill counterweights here. But what I'm going to show you on this is, so this piece right here looks very similar, but this is actually the pieces that go to the Achilles. And this part right here is the same, but the rest of these parts are actually different. They look like even the transmission covers, you notice that they've got different ways of attaching things. So we've got immediately our mantlet is different for the 3-inch gun, different stampings on it. And the stampings for the transmission cover for the Achilles, or excuse me, for the M10 is up on top here. So they are different, and of course this is different down here where the tow hooks would be. But you can see the welds hopefully really well inside there. This is just like I said, to give you an idea how the texturing and how the welds look on this, because obviously in 16 scale you're going to notice that stuff very well. Okay, next up we have the sprue that has our floor in it with the diamond plate now in it. You know, that anti-slip stuff. There we go. Look at that. That is really nice looking. This is another part too that just looks absolutely stunning. Try to get in as close as possible. Got all that detail in there. Some of the other parts that have some detail on them as well. Next up, we're going to show you the welds as they appear on the actual hull. So you got the welds all around here where they attach the turret ring, the welds where they put the two slabs together, steel, and then the double weld up front here for their front armor. And then you also notice too, we've added these little protections, because this little piece right here, I got on the test shots, it is very, very sharp. So this is kind of a protection for that, to keep that on there. And then the little bit of a weld here in the back, just like that. Okay, here's some more pieces for the upper hull. Once again, you can see the welds. Here is the engine deck, and remember that these doors are openable for the engine compartment, and we've got those graded doors right there. And look at it. Yeah, look how crisp and sharp all that detail is on that. So if you do decide to have the doors open, they are nicely done. And then of course some more welding up on the front here. Okay, now we're going to take a look at some of the suspension parts in here. First thing I want to show you is we want to take a close look at the fronts of the bogies, and you see all of the stamping on there. And this is something else I think looks really, really incredibly cool. Look at even the bolts inside there. They actually are hexed right in there. That's how much detail is on the kit. Stuff like that really sticks out. So here is a look at what the entire bogie assembly looks like. So this is enough to actually do 2 bogies on it. So you get 3 of this sprue inside there, but really, really nice detail. The bolts, all of that stuff. It's just done incredibly well. And these are universal between both kits. So either the Achilles or the M10 both get the same type right here. What changes are the road wheels, which I'll show you right now. And we start off with, I'm going to say M10 for the one reason, this is what we actually give you in the M10 kit. But just to let you know that these wheels are interchangeable on the vehicle. It's just different manufacturers of the wheels at the time. But I have seen Achilles with this type of wheel on it, obviously M10s, and vice versa right there. So this is what comes in. This is the spoked wheel that comes on the M10. And the 2-part rubber. And you know, oh, you got a seam. Remember, the way these were molded in real life, the rubber, there will be a seam actually naturally on the real piece. And what makes it, and I'll show you actually in the build video, because I've been experimenting putting some of these together. There's a way of painting all the parts separately and still putting them together, or mostly separately, and getting a real easy finish without doing a lot of work. And next up, this is what the road wheels are going to look like. These are the dished ones. These are the ones that come in the Achilles. But once again, if you wanted to, if you had both kits and you wanted to swap them, it would be accurate. You wouldn't have to worry about that. But I'll zoom in on this and let you see how those are looking. That's just the back side. Same thing, 2-part rubber on there, just like that. And actually, here is one of the prototype bogies that I put together here. So you'll notice right off, there's no stampings on it or anything like that. Those were all going to be added up to that point. But none of this has been masked. So there is a way to get all of that nice, super sharp line on the road wheels and paint the entire thing and not have to worry about trying to mask it off or hand paint it. And of course, I'll show you how all that goes together in the actual video, but you can see how, when I say working, obviously it's not a real spring inside there, but working in the sense that you can adjust the tracks and the suspension on it, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to show you the parts for the tracks. So over here on the right, we have the T51 tracks. These are the smooth pad tracks. And over here we have the T48 chevron, rubber chevron tracks. Now, both sets of tracks are going to use this sprue right here for the inside pad, as well as the guide horns and the end connectors right here. And that's going to be, this is universal. This is in both kits. And once again, like I talked to you about some of the other parts, it is very common to see either set of tracks on either vehicle. We had to pick one, so this smooth one right here is going to be in the American M10. This set of chevron tracks is T48s are going to be in the British Achilles in there. But like I said, you can mix and match if you have both kits and you want to change them out. It is completely acceptable. Now, I went ahead and put together a set to let you see how flexible they are. I just threw some black primer on there now to make them a little bit more visible, but you can see they work very, very well. And when I actually do the build video, I will show you how you can quickly and easily put these together. And this is the actual set of tracks for the T51 tracks too. Same thing, work beautifully on that. Well, there you go, guys. There is a look at the new parts for the M10 project, both the Achilles and the regular US M10. Now, as soon as I upload this current video, I'm going to immediately start work on both kits, probably the American one first, just because, or I might actually build them simultaneously, because a lot of the things are going to be repetitive. So actually, more I think about it, I probably will do them side by side, but I will have build videos on both kits so I can show you all the ins and outs on how those kits go together, and a couple of little tips and tricks to speed up the process of doing like the bogies and the tracks, things like that. Just stuff to make it a little bit easier, because after you've built a bunch of them like I have, you go, oh, this is how you probably should do it to make it a little bit easier. So there you go, guys. Like I said, this is just a quick little update video to let you guys know that the kits are basically, for all intents and purposes, done. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you as always for watching, and please stay tuned because I have many more videos coming.